a good point, right? Like if it doesn't work out, there's always the option of going back, right? No, this is helpful. Thank you. And I'm curious. Like like as someone who like is always taking care of people, how do you find the balance to like also take care of yourself, making sure that you wind down, you're not always thinking about work?
It's not easy. When I first started my practice, I was here 16 hours a day probably. I started as early as 7 a.m. and I was probably here treating patients till like 10 p.m.
Wow.
And I've got 2 kids at home. I've got a beautiful wife at home, and you realize that every hour you lose with them is not something that you can get back. So that part was tough when you go from working 40 hours to probably when I first started my practice, I was probably here 70 hours a week or so.
Wow.
And then you realize that the business will always be there. You got to make sure that you make that time for your family as well. So
yeah,
I was fortunate enough to kind of cut back my hours, so I didn't have to be there as often. And I enjoy spending a lot more time with my kids now as well, which is nice. But when you first start your practice, just know, or when you first start your business, just know that there's gonna be a lot of time when you need to dedicate to be able to be successful.